Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Tawana Rivers, the CEO of the 10K Project, and I am joined here tonight by another amazing founder. I'm super excited about tonight's offering, and so we're going to jump right into it. Miss Amina Gilliard James is going to talk to us about her project. But first, I am going to go to the campaign page so that you guys can see some of the high-level details. This is going to be our first time on this particular portal. The portal is called VestHer. It is a Black-owned portal. You guys know how excited I get when there's a new Black-owned portal on the block, right? And so let me share the screen and just show you guys high level. Right. I think you all can see my screen. So under current investments, this is a hotel investment. Here is the opportunity, AJA Investments Hotel. It's in Lake Charles, Louisiana. I'm just going to go high level just to show you the layout of this platform. So the goal is $1.2 million on this particular raise. They've already raised $945,000. That is wonderful. Congratulations, Amina. That is absolutely beautiful. You have been making great progress. When I first looked at this campaign, you were not at that number yet. So that is such a blessing. That is from 23 investors. The minimum price per share is $15,000, and this is a Reg C offering, which means non-accredited investors can get in on this opportunity, which is why I was so excited to share this with you all, because typically we are looking at campaigns that have a lower buy-in, but lower buy-in also means lower return. And so I was super excited to show this because not very often do non-accredited investors get the opportunity to invest at this level on this kind of deal. So I'm so excited and cannot wait for you guys to hear the presentation. I feel like you're going to be excited as well. The Form C is there. Remember, the Form C is the document that helps you do some of your due diligence. It shows information about the company, about their financial status and all of that stuff, right? So you want to definitely look at this. And even though this is a new portal, my rules don't change. Look at every single thing on the campaign page. Because why? Because the founders spend a lot of time making sure they add things in here that they know you need to see to make a good decision on if they fit in your portfolio or not. So look at everything. There's some videos here. There's some highlights, information about the founders and the sponsors. There's an overview of the project. Obviously, financials are in here as well. And so please, 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 once the presentation is over this evening, spend some time here on the campaign doing your due diligence, research the area, all of those things that you know to do as responsible investors, right? With that said, I am going to stop sharing. And Miss Amina, this is where I turn it over to you, my dear.
Okay. All right. Am I unmuted? Yes, I'm unmuted. Okay. Thanks, Tawana, for setting me up and for having me. I'm really excited to be here to pitch for the 10K project this evening. So,
Thank
this
you.
investment opportunity is 120 key Holiday Inn and Suites in Lake Charles, Louisiana, with a planned conversion to a Wyndham by Wyndham Hotels and Resorts. So, you've probably heard of Wyndham Hotels. And that's the larger brand. And their Wyndham flag is actually their namesake sub brand underneath the larger company that's their upscale brand. So we're really excited about being able to convert to that. There's some language that our lawyers made us put in here that this is a confidential offering. What you're about to see and hear are projections. A lot of it are projections, so don't go screaming it all over social media. Yeah, that's it. So, really excited about this group that we've put together for this acquisition. So, AJ Investments is it's basically three groups that have come together, three companies that have come together. So the lead sponsor is myself and my husband. We make up Duke Ventures. We got into hotels back in 2019, and we made our first investment in 2020 with a Black woman led project, and that was a Home2 Suites in Oklahoma. Then we made our second investment in 2021 with another Black woman led project in a Hampton Inn in Douglas, Georgia. And the goal was always to become general partners and own our own hotels. So in December of 2022, we purchased a Quality Inn in Memphis, Tennessee. So after being two-time limited partners, we became general partners. We also have a company called Chronicle Lodging and Events, which holds our rental properties. We currently, our short-term rental properties, we currently have one in Hampton, Virginia. My husband and partner, Norland, is an Army veteran. Now he works full-time for the US government as a program analyst. I also work full-time for the US government in organization development and engagement. That's what my background's in. And because we've had so much we had experience with long-term rentals before we even met, and now hotels and short-term rentals, we have a lot of knowledge and experience working with hospitality management companies and real estate. Next, we have Aquania Escarnet. She is a retiree of the Department of State, and she owns RD Investments and the Purpose of Money, and she teaches financial literacy on those platforms. And she's also a wealth strategist. She is an insurance agent, and she really helps folks learn how to build wealth using cash value insurance, saving, and investing. In rounding up the crew for this project, we have Richard and Janelle Howard of JRI Investments. They are both Army veterans. Janelle is currently still an Army reservist. They founded How We Travel Group and Family Travel Agency. Actually, Aquania had her birthday in Antigua last August, and Janelle planned the whole thing. So if you're looking for a travel agency, I would suggest them. A little plug. And now Howard, we call Richard Howard affectionately, works in private sector logistics. And Janelle is a stay-at-home mom, and she subs at her kids' school, and they both have a passion for their church's married couples ministry. So that's the Howards. So that is our group of five. We make up AJ Investments for this acquisition. So now let's get into the nitty gritty. What are we actually talking about? Well, this asset, this hotel, it's performing okay, but we think based on our financial modeling and studying the past performance that it can do better. It was built and open in 2010, and actually the person who built it still owns it today. So it's really been kind of like his baby, a legacy property for him, but he's retiring to smaller hotels. So he's ready to sell this. This is one of the bigger hotels in his portfolio. And it looks like it hasn't been updated cosmetically since 2010. I mean, the wall coloring, the outside, I mean, it just looks outdated and it doesn't give you a welcoming feel, especially the one that the business and leisure traveler is looking for right now. The hotel is full service, meaning that there's an on-site restaurant and bar area, 24 square feet of meeting space, which can be broken down into two separate meeting rooms, an indoor pool, and a fitness center. Now, our plan is to acquire the asset, and at closing, due to a deal that the owner worked out with IHG, who owns the Holiday Inn brand, that brand will be expiring, and we will immediately begin working on converting the hotel to the Wyndham brand. We have hired two management companies to manage, one to manage the conversion, and then one to oversee the day-to-day operations, which means that they'll be managing the general manager and the other staff at the hotel. Here is an overview of the cost involved. So the purchase price of the hotel is $9.5 million. We have capital improvements or a property improvement plan, a PIP for short, of about $1.8 million. Closing costs estimated about $700K, and we're looking at a total project cost of around $12 million. Now, we are really viewing this as a cash flow hotel, so we're not looking to make millions and millions and millions of dollars upon exit, but we do think that we can increase the occupancy, which we'll talk about in a few slides, and increase the net operating income, and thus increase the cash flow. And really, it will be a good deal for ourselves and our investors. But our proposed exit strategy is to exit in years 5, 6, or 7 at 11.5 cap rate at about 109 a key. So the plan is still to make a profit, but this play is mostly a cash flow play. And now, Twan, I'm not sure the usual format. I can take questions as I go along, or would you prefer I wait till the end?
Let's do it at the end.
Okay, great. All right. So here are the targeted return on investments. So we have a 19.15% 5-year leverage RR, IRR, 18.7% cash on cash return. And the metric that we typically point people to is what your equity multiple will be. So what is the MOIC, or the multiple on the invested capital? And we're projecting that that is going to be at least 2K, and that's a conservative projection. So we're saying if you invest 25K, that by the time we exit, you would have received at least 50K. So that's your 25K investment back and an additional 25K. And this would be in the form of quarterly distributions throughout the whole period, and then your upside during exit. So let's just go over some high-level investment terms, because we're all wondering anyway. Now, I had that line already planned. You saw the platform, so you might not be wondering anymore. But just to reiterate, the minimum buy-in for this deal is 15K. We have two options. We have Class A, and that's if you invest 15K to 49,999K. And then we have Class B for those who invest 50K and above. And those two classes carry different preferred returns. And we'll talk about that as we get towards the end of the presentation. But I just wanted you to have some high level numbers to be thinking about as we go through. So how has this hotel performed in the past? Let's go through that. So here you can see the performance for 2019 to 2030 as far as ADR, average daily rate, occupancy, RevPAR, which is the revenue per available room, and room revenue. So this does not take into account any F&B or food and beverage revenues. So as you can see, 2019, 2022, and 2023, these are kind of the normal years for the hotel. And you can see that the occupancy was a little down. It's not as high as it could be. It really should be reaching over that 70% mark, as we'll talk about in a bit. And you can see actually the occupancy got up to 66% for 2023. That was in October. It actually ended up around 64 and a half, I think, by the time the year was done. But for a hotel like this, it should be doing better as far as occupancy. And the ADR wasn't bad, but as you can see, it was one of the lower of the last 5 years. Now, 2020 and 2021 are kind of extraordinary years, especially 2021. We don't want potential investors thinking that this hotel is going to bring in almost 6 million every year. No, because the hotel is so strong and has good bones, it was built by a builder who just happened to also operate it, which is different because, you know, building hotels is his bread and butter. It's a very strong hotel. In 2021, the Lake Charles area had an abnormal amount of hurricanes and tropical storms. And our hotel, this one was one of the only ones that stayed open because other hotels in the area were damaged. And of course, our hotel also has a restaurant, so that gave it an edge for people coming into town, frontline responders, etc. So it was basically able to take business in the market that didn't have any other place to go because of the inclement weather that season. We do think that the room revenue should be up in the $4 million range. So we do think there's potential to increase top line here, and we will get to how we want to do that in a bit. So as with any real estate, you have comparables, right? So this is the competitive set for the hotel. As you can see, it's one of the older hotels in the competitive set, and it's also the largest. Not to mention, it's the only hotel in the competitive set that's full service. So if we're being honest, the hotel really doesn't have any competition, and that's kind of how we look at it. Not only is it the only full service hotel in its set, meaning it's the only one with a restaurant and bar in the Lake Charles area. If you want to go to a hotel, have a little nightcap, get a bite to eat, and head to your room, you can only do that at our hotel. Hotels, the only other option, if you want to do that, would be casino hotels. And not everyone likes casino hotels. They're loud, they're noisy, they're 1,000 rooms. Some people, they're coming in town to visit their kid who's at the college down the block, or for a sporting event. They want something low key. They come to our hotel. Also, our hotel is set apart from the other ones on this competitive set list. Our hotel's in a kind of business district, about a 10-minute walk from the mall. And the other hotels are, if you get on the expressway and go one exit, they're all grouped together right by the casinos. I think it's actually called like Hospitality Lane or something like that, where all these hotels, including a Wingate by Wyndham, are all grouped together. So we actually have the advantage of not being grouped with the other hotels and also being full service. So now let's take a look at how the hotel has done in terms of its competitive set. With all that I just said, unfortunately, there is, and fortunately for us, there's room for us to get more of the market. So we already talked about 2020 and 2021, why those numbers are so high. So if you look in the right column over here, the far right column, you get an index for occupancy and average daily rate, ADR. You always want these indices to be at least 100, because that means that you're getting your fair market share. Now, if this number is less than 100, that tells you that there's still business in the market that other hotels are taking from you, and that you're not getting your fair share. Your hotel's not getting your fair share. And as you can see, last year, the last 2 years, as far as occupancy, we're pretty low as far as uh, index penetration. So definitely room to increase occupancy at the hotel. And also, especially last year, was lower in ADR. So definitely room to increase the ADR. As you can see, last year, the subject property ADR was 118, and the average of the competitive set was 133. That really shouldn't be. We should be leading the competitive set, because it's a more upper scale full service hotel, but that was not the case. Probably for a number of reasons: marketing, advertising, the seller knowing that is selling, so not putting as much effort into those things, the cosmetic look of the hotel, etc. But there's definitely an upside potential here. So how are we going to get you your money back? Excuse me, what are we going to do to return your investment? So briefly, as we've stated, we want to update the asset via brand conversion, so converting from the Holiday Inn to the Wyndham. We also are hiring a management company. So the transition company will help us convert from a Holiday Inn to a Wyndham. But then we have a company called Synergy Hospitality Group that's coming in. It's another Black-owned company, so it's a Black-owned hospitality group. And I really love them. They're dynamic. They're really great at revenue management, really great at staffing. What I love about them the most is they actually manage a hotel that we invested in. They managed the Hampton Inn in Georgia that we're limited partners in, and they have turned that hotel around. We see great distributions. They have just done such great work for the hotel. So you really can't have a better reference on your resume than, being a part of a deal that they've already managed and seeing how and what they can do. So we're really excited about that, about having Synergy Hospitality Group come in and manage the asset for us. We also want to increase the NOI. We're going to get rid of those repair and maintenance costs that is weighing the budget down. So over the last few years, even though the current owner hasn't updated the hotel cosmetically, he did a lot of system updates to prepare for the number, the sales price that he wanted. For instance, he redid the whole kitchen. There's a brand new industrial kitchen on the property. It's beautiful. I saw it with my own eyes. So a lot that was eating a lot of the budget and eating into the NOI over the last few years. So we're going to stabilize expenses. We'll have money set aside and funded for the property improvement plan, so we won't have to eat into our operating capital for that. So that's more money to the bottom line. Leverage the Wyndham brand affiliation. Every brand has loyalty programs. What we like about Wyndham is that they have a really strong presence in the I-10 corridor, and that's exactly where the hotel is located. Like, of course, we're going to lose some guests because they're IHG loyalists, but Wyndham has high brand contribution. So I really do think, and I've seen that they have a history of driving a lot of business to their partner hotels. And because they have such a strong presence at I-10, we're going to be in the perfect location for them to do so. And of course, once we improve the look and feel of the property, make it more modern, upscale, then we can optimize those guest satisfaction scores and use that also to drive ADR and occupancy. So a little more about why we chose Wyndham. This hotel was a hot topic for a while there. We had, excuse me, we had interest from all the major brands. Hilton. We had conversations with Marriott. We had conversations with IHG about keeping a Holiday Inn. Choice was interested. We started a conversation with Hyatt. Everyone was interested, but why we went with Wyndham, besides the reasons that I've already stated, is they have really sensible renovation requirements. So 1.8 for a PIP is very light, and it's mostly cosmetic. So they really wanted to work with us and not kind of just get rid of everything. The hotel has so much charm and character. They're not trying to get rid of all that. They're just trying to align the asset with Wyndham's brand standards. We talked about the loyalty program and the high percentage of brand contribution already. Wyndham, the flag, not just the company, but the hotel Wyndham is top 3 in brand recognition among upscale brands. And Wyndham offered us a deal that we could not refuse. They gave us key money and fee discounts as part of Wyndham's Woman Own the Room program for aspiring female hoteliers and Black Owners and Land Developers program, also known as BOLD. They offered us $960K in key money. So what does that mean? Well, I should say our lawyer negotiated because they weren't offering us that much at first. But what that means is that after the renovation is complete, the full renovation from a Holiday Inn to a Wyndham, which is planned to take about 6 months, Wyndham will release $960K to our bank account. All right. Again, what does that mean? It is not a loan in the sense that we have to pay it back. We do not have, us, the general partners, do not have to pay it back. Every year that we stay with Wyndham on our franchise agreement, a part of it burns off. If someone takes over the franchise agreement because we sell the hotel, then we could probably work it out with Wyndham. We wouldn't owe any liquidated damages. However, it's not a loan in the sense, as I said, that we have to pay it back. So where is this money going? So the money is going to our operating reserves. And that looks good for the banks because, especially in this lending environment, banks want you to have a buffer. They want to see that you have a little money in the bank so that if something goes wrong, another pandemic, whatever, that the hotel can sustain itself for a few months. So that looks great when we're working on getting our loan. And also, it provides us with a little breathing room. As general partners, we're putting all of the money up front in this acquisition. So we don't use any investor money until the closing table. Investor money only goes towards down payment. So as general partners, we're putting in about 200K, if not more, upfront. So it gives us a little breathing room. And then it goes to working on distributions for our investors. So usually we tell people, investors, LPs, not to expect any distributions for the first year because we're getting settled into the hotel. But with this key money, while most of it will stay in reserves, it will allow us to put a little bit in our in our investors' pockets as well, and hopefully get some distributions out sooner rather than later. So before that 1 year period. All right. My brain keeps wanting to ask, are there questions? But then I don't remember we're waiting to the end. All right. So performance assumptions. How do we think the hotel is going to do? So as I mentioned earlier, if we exit year 5, for example, we do think we can get that room revenue up to around 4 million. If you notice, this underwriting is very conservative because me and my husband Norland, we like to under promise and over deliver. That's what he always says, under promise and over deliver. So if you notice our 2024, 2025 underwriting for occupancy, we actually shaved a couple of points off of what the hotel did in 2023. And that's because, things happen. Let's just under project what we think we'll do and we'll go from there. If it does better, great. So is the hotel going to do better than 64.2% occupancy in 2024? Most likely. But if not, here's where we are. And then we have the hotel stabilizing around year 3 at the occupancy that it was at last year. So again, very conservative underwriting. And here, now the ADR, we were a little more aggressive with because we are changing it to an upscale brand. And the cosmetic renovations are going to really bring in a different, we hope, bring in a different type of guest. We're redoing the bar, redoing the dining area, all the bedding's going to be new, redoing part of the lobby. So we really do think that by year 3, we'll be able to justify this ADR. All right. Okay, so why Lake Charles? What's going on there? What makes it so special? So there's actually a lot going on in Lake Charles, which we're really excited about. There was an article just in the news the other week that someone from Wyndham sent text me about Lake Charles Methanol. I think putting I can't remember the exact amount, but it was billions of dollars into their headquarters in Lake Charles. So that's coming to town really soon. So a little more about Lake Charles. So it's located on I always mispronounce this, the Calcasieu River. I know there's some New Orleans in in the audience, so hopefully y'all don't shun me. But all that to say that it's big in oil and gas because it's on a ship channel. Lake Charles is about 3-hour drive from New Orleans, 2-hour drive from Houston, hour and a half drive from Baton Rouge about. It used to be known as a really strong drive-to tourist destination, and it still is, but more and more people are flying in. I flew in there when I went to tour the hotel and meet the owner. I flew from DC to Houston and then Houston to Lake Charles. It was only 30 minutes. I mean, by the time I got my nap on, we were landing, in Lake Charles. So it's just a hop from Houston. It's also known, which is interesting, it's known as the Las Vegas of Louisiana because it's the largest casino market in the state. And there are over 70 annual festivals hosted in Lake Charles. And my partner, Kwanya, always laughs. So she's like, are we sure about that? That's more than one festival a week. But obviously in the spring and summer, the spring and probably before the weather gets too hot in the summer, there are different festivals that go on, probably multiple a week. So a little bit about the demand generators. So there is McNeese State University. It's a smaller university, but they do have a football team. And so that will bring people in as far as visiting their children who are students and also those who are alumni of the university coming to see their favorite college sports team. They have the casinos there, which people actually do come into town for the casino to play at the casinos, I guess you can say. They have the annual festivals, industry and manufacturing, as I mentioned before, oil and gas. Not only is that going to bring, more jobs to the area, which brings more people moving there, but also more people visiting because they have to visit their headquarters or they want to visit their family that just moved to town to work for Citco or whoever. And then you have recreation. There's minor league sports teams and also golf courses, award-winning golf courses. There's also millions and millions, and in some cases, billions of dollars being put into Lake Charles right now. The lakefront, which is about a mile from the hotel, is undergoing a $30 million or over $30 million in developments. Um, as many lakefront and riverfront towns, cities do. So it's actually a very good sign because that means they're expecting tourism to pick up and they want things to be happening on the lakefront, places to eat, things to do, places to shop. And also, they are developing the I-10 and Enterprise Boulevard, which they want to be kind of like a cultural corridor, business district type situation, community engagement. So there's a lot of investment going in there right now. And if you remember, I said earlier that the hotel is on the I-10 corridor. So we'll be right in the mix of all that. And of course, we have the Port of Lake Charles, which we talked about a little earlier as well, that has the is really the driver of the oil and gas industry in Lake Charles. And that is a multi-billion dollar development going on at the port right now. And if you go on the Vestor website that Tawana showed earlier, there are actually all these links on there. So, oh, this one made its way in there somehow. But you can dig into these. We did some research just to kind of, if you're more visual, you can kind of just see what's going on in Lake Charles. And also, there's this article I love because Lake Charles has an investor day. And they actually invite people from all over the world, the country, to come and see the potential of Lake Charles. So it's always a good sign when the people there, the officials, etc., believe in their city and think that their city is going to be the next big thing. Because local level officials play a big part in making investments successful. So definitely check that out. So we have the investment terms. Let me see how I'm doing on time. Oh, pretty good. All right. So, as I mentioned before, we have two options. 15K is the minimum buy-in for both options. And then both options also have, options also have a projected 2x multiple on invested capital. Option one, also known as Class A, your investment minimum is 15K and you get an 8% preferred return. So say that in a given quarter, the hotel does 12% cash on cash for that quarter. All the proceeds up to 8%, 100% of that goes to the LPs in Class A, or LPs that get 8% preferred return. The rest of it, so the 4% over that, goes to 70% to the LPs, the investors, and 30% to the general partners. So that is an incentive for us to basically do better than your preferred returns that we can get some coins. And then after your 2x equity multiple is achieved, then the split changes to 50-50. So say it's year 3 and you invested 15K, but through distributions, you've already gotten 30K back. Well, that means that after you've gotten that 30K back, any more cash flow, you still have your preferred return. And so cash flow and proceeds, the split changes to 50% LPs, 50% GPs after that preferred return. Now, on the contrary, capital events are included in this. So if it's year 5 and we decide to exit and you've only gotten 25K back, so we have not hit that 2x multiple that we were projecting, the splits remains 70%, 30%, even upon sale or refinance. So even upon a capital event, the split would still be 70%, 30%. Of course, we have an incentive to want to get you that 2x faster so the split can even out. That's more for us, but we can't get there without really working hard for it. So if we don't hit it, we just don't hit it, and the split remains 70-30 after the preferred return. Option 2, Class B, is the exact same, except for the preferred return is 10% and the investment minimum is 50K. And that brings us to the conclusion. I was just going to say the next step was to head to Vestor and invest, excuse me, but Tawana already covered that, so I will stop sharing and open it up for questions.
Wonderful. Very, very well done. Thank you so very much, Amina. We are going to get started with questions, guys. Put your questions in the Q&A. I will read them to Amina, and she will answer all of your questions. For those of you watching us in Facebook, you go ahead and put yours in the comment section, and we will monitor that as well so that we can get your questions. Right. I'll get us started as the community is trying to figure out. I love that you talked about, very in very detail. I believe you covered the terms and how those returns work. And I'm sure there'll be some additional questions from the community on that. So I'm not going to ask that question because I know they are. I'm going to ask you about marketing. So when we talk about how you're able to get to that 100%, right, that you talked about, in the indexing, how are you going to get there? What does the marketing strategy look like? How are you going to, take your part of that market share that's going to some of the other hotels? How are you going to take that back and then some?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, because we're converting to an upscale Wyndham brand, our conversion comes with what Wyndham calls a pod team. So that's a team of dedicated Wyndham employees who work in marketing and advertising. That will be with us for 6 months, pretty much as a part of the staff to help us get our marketing strategy together. But what this also includes internally, what we've talked about as far as a marketing strategy is making sure that we have the government contracts in place. We know that the current seller does have some government contracts, but he's admitted that he doesn't take as much use of them or advantage of them as he could. And also corporate meetings and other like more leisurely meetings, family reunions. He's admitted that he doesn't market the meeting space as well as it could be marketed. So we could have the meeting space and also offer guests a place to stay at the same time, bring in more maybe smaller weddings, family reunions, corporate meetings, etc. So just really taking advantage of the things that we already have at our disposal, bringing the local community into the bar and dining area. Right now, it really does function as just a place where people who are staying at the hotel go and have a drink. But we're exploring ways to either lease that out and make it a restaurant that the community will want to come to, or turn that into something ourselves internally and host happy corporate happy hours and things like that. So we have a lot of ideas, and Synergy Hospitality Group is really going to help us put all that into action.
Very nice. Very, very good. One of the things that came to mind is I always think about, how we market the Black owned, right?
Yeah,
And, Condé Nast has a list, Travel and Leisure has a list. I always go to those lists when I travel to see, because that's my preferred place to stay when I can, right? So I would imagine you're going to leverage some of those publications as well.
absolutely. Yeah, so Devon actually has a website. Devon, who's the founder of Fester,
Mhm.
well, obviously she introduced us, but she also has Stay Black Experience. So that lists Black-owned hotels and Airbnbs. So our Memphis hotel is on there, and I believe that our Hampton Airbnb is on there. We've leveraged Travel Noir for our Hampton Airbnb, and what's the other one? What is oh Afrotech
Oh, mhm.
our they did a story on our Memphis hotel. So yeah, we definitely love leveraging the media. If you want to know a little bit more about me and Norland, just Google us. We're not people that try to be in the spotlight. Somehow we ended up all over the internet. But if it's helping the cause, that's fine.
Very good. Well, we've got a couple of questions. Let's see. Bernard says, how will the merger that is in the talks with Wyndham and Choice Hotels affect this hotel setup? So can you talk about some of the design changes?
Um, yeah, so I can't really speak to the merger. Don't even know if that is going to happen. But as far as the design changes, since it will be going from a Holiday Inn to a Wyndham. Wyndham has a few different brand standards than the Holiday Inn does. So we're gonna have to redesign the bathrooms as far as vanities in the guest rooms, new equipment for fitness center, new bedding, new mattresses. We can keep the lobby pretty much how it is, but we have to upgrade the bar, elevate the dining area so it's more of a upscale experience. Right now, it just looks like, a breakfast dining area when you go to the Hampton Inn, and we all know what one looks like. That's what it looks like. It has to be elevated to a more uh upscale experience. The lobby, the registration desks have to be converted from how they are now to little pods because that's the newest thing in hotels. People love the pods. So there's just a lot of basic cosmetic things. Painting the outside, changing out the signs. But because the hotel has such good bones and good infrastructure and a good look to it on the inside, it really does look like something that would be in New Orleans. They're letting us keep that charm of it, but just everything is going to say Wyndham now.
Very good. Can you talk a little bit about what that what the reconstruction looks like in regards to closing off floors, taking
Oh,
some of the
right.
rooms out of service in order to make that flip?
Yeah, so we will be in full operation. Well, I shouldn't say full operation. We will be in operation during the conversion period. So the first few weeks is what some call like a go dark period. We will be an affiliate of Wyndham, but we won't be on their systems yet. So we'll technically be independent. And that's why we're bringing in a special transition team because that's what they specialize in, still making the hotel money, even though it's not on the online travel sites or on the company's website yet. But will be a Wyndham affiliate for a few weeks. So if someone Googles, Wyndham Hotels in Lake Charles, our hotel would come up. Now, after that few weeks when we're getting those prior to opening items done for Wyndham, getting their bedding in, getting the signs ordered, taking out the coffee cups that say Holiday Inn and putting in the ones that say Wyndham, then we get to get on the Wyndham system. And that's when we'll bring in Synergy Hospitality Group and we'll finish the property improvement plan, which will be about another 5 months. During that time, we'll be in operation, but we'll just be closing off parts of the floors. So the hotel's large. It's 120 rooms, 4 floors, I believe. So we'll be closing off part of the floors to renovate the guest rooms. And it shouldn't, we just finished a PIP on our Memphis hotel. So we know how this goes. It doesn't cause a great disruption. It didn't then. And even with this Lake Charles hotel, it's even lighter renovation. So really it's changing out some of the FF&E in the bathroom, carpets remaining, changing out the mattresses, refurbishing the case goods, so the dressers and chairs and desks that are already there. So it's very light work. So while we have it scheduled for 6 months, that time is mostly for like some of the larger projects, like changing out the carpet in the meeting room, which doesn't disrupt operations. Besides, you can't have anyone, rent out the meeting room for a couple of days while you replace the carpet. But as far as occupancy, we don't expect any major disruptions. Hopefully, I answered that.
Yeah. You did indeed. Miss Beulah says she's got two questions. Her first question is, what is your convention capability?
So I don't have, so we wouldn't host conventions. I don't actually have the number on me right now, but I think the meeting room has like 140
Oh, that's good.
capacity. Yeah. So it's not like it's not huge, it's not super small. And the meeting room is set in the back of the hotel, and there's a different entrance from the parking lot. So it has a lot of amenities that someone who's hosting an event would like. So if you're not staying at the hotel and you're just doing like a woman's brunch or something there, all your guests can enter through the back door, not the back door, but the side entrance and get to the meeting room. Um, we cater the events, so that's something our management company will be working on because the current owner also caters the events that he holds in the meeting room. So that's another revenue stream. So we can hold smaller events, but definitely not conventions, like big conventions, but we can definitely host smaller corporate events, small group events, family events, things like that.
Very
Small,
good. No, that meeting room's a nice size, actually.
yeah, 2,400 and square feet, and it has the projectors. I mean, it's a really nice room.
Very nice. Miss Beulah's second question, I'm gonna change the wording around what I think you're asking, Miss Beulah, and if I'm wrong, please clarify. But I think you're asking for Amina to go through the example again of an investment of $15,000 from the onset of investing to the potential exit. I believe that's what you're asking. If I'm incorrect, please chime back in the questions or in the comments or the chat to let me know that I got it wrong. But I mean, I believe that's what Ms. Buell is asking.
Yeah, so we're projecting a 2x equity multiple or multiple on your invested capital, MOIC for short. So if you ever hear anyone say MOIC, that's what they mean. So if you invest 15K, we're projecting that by the time we exit in year 5, 6, or 7, you would have received 30K back through distributions and through your proceeds at exit. And that's 15K that you put in an additional 15K. The great news, besides that being great news, is that you don't stop earning distributions just because you reach your 2x. So if you invest 15K and say year 4, you've already gotten 30K back through distributions, you still continue to get distributions. And we've underwritten the deal conservatively. So we're really believing, based on our numbers, that we will exceed that 2x, but we want to at least get you twice your money back by exit. Hopefully that helps.
Very good. Ms. Buell, please let us know if that answered your question accurately. Anonymous says, do you plan on marketing to Black Greek groups or lodges or church groups?
I have the, oh, sorry, I have the sniffles this week. Yes, that's something that we do in Memphis. So we tried to market to, I think it's Kojic, but we just couldn't get them at our hotel. But we definitely reach out to church groups. I'm a member of the Divine Nine. I'm a member of Zeta Phi Beta sorority. So naturally, it's something that we do. I'm actually holding a session about hotel investing with the first international vice president of Phi Beta Sigma on March 12th. So I'm really excited about the opportunity to educate my blue and white brothers about hotel investing and maybe getting some of them involved. So yeah, definitely. Now, Lake Charles is in Memphis, right? And then Memphis isn't like New Orleans. So you're not going to have a whole bunch of Black Greek letter organizations or national organizations having conventions or meetings in Lake Charles like you would Memphis or New Orleans. But that is, we're not going to leave any stone unturned. We're definitely going to reach out to those groups.
Very good. Lisa asked, are you open to allowing partners or investors to obtain some hands-on experience in hotel operations? She said, I attended the Wyndham's Bold event last year, so I believe in what you're trying to accomplish.
Thanks, Lisa. I missed out on that event. I was so sad. But here I am. I'm going to be a part of the program. Um, so this is an interesting question because obviously as limited partners, it's the word limited for a reason. And I know that one of the reasons we got into investing and being limited partners was because we wanted to understand the hotel business. So I totally get that question. So hands-on experience, like working at the hotel and things like that, no, probably not. But if you're truly interested in the hotel ownership experience and learning what it is to be a hotel owner and an investor, that's not really what you want to do anyway. Like once you own the property, yeah, go there, work the front desk, understand how everything works. But getting to that, you want to be asking the questions of the sponsors, like things like how did you get a lender and how did you find a property and how do you get investors and all this stuff. This is stuff we work with our investors on. People ask us all the time, oh, do you guys, have courses, classes? No, there's plenty of people out there doing that. but we are very, I don't know what, PD, sorry. We are very accessible to our investors, meaning that when our investors have questions, we answer the phone. I mean, investors text and call me from Memphis, not from Memphis, but from our Memphis project. Those who invested text and call us all the time. About 80% of our Memphis investors are investing in Lake Charles because we've been so transparent and open with them. One of our Memphis investors is currently under contract to buy her own hotel. And I've worked with her a lot on getting that, process going and continuing, et cetera. So will you learn things? In short, will you learn things being an investor in our project? Yes. Not to mention, we brought all of our investors to Memphis for a retreat last March, and it was so much fun. We got to tour the hotels, they met the staff, general manager, went to a Grizzlies game and got like a fan experience. We just bumped all over Memphis, went to the Black History Museum. So we plan to do the same thing in Lake Charles. In Memphis, we met with local officials. We talked about other development opportunities in the city. So yeah, we plan on doing that with Lake Charles too, just so our investors can get a full look of what hotel ownership looks like. Because it's not one thing. I mean, we're meeting with, from Maryland, we're on Zooms with our commissioner in Memphis, the mayor, and what about this law, and trying to get that building shut down because it's affecting our business. So it's a lot of local legal and a lot of local politics involved with hotel ownership. There's a lot of, sometimes there's grunt work. Like sometimes you do have to jump on a plane and stand in for a front desk agent because your general manager can't do it. I mean, you'll definitely learn the ins and outs by being an investor. Not to mention we have quarterly, we're obligated anyway to have quarterly meetings with our investors. So we usually try to do one in person to kick it off, and then the rest virtual, and monthly reports with financials. So even just getting those monthly reports and learning how to go through them and understand financials and star reports and all that is a benefit. And that helped us greatly when we were limited partner investors. That was a long answer. But I'm very passionate about that. People ask us all the time, and I'm like, I don't want to make it seem like we don't help people. Like, this is about as hands-on as it gets when you invest in someone's project and they're like open and willing to teach you stuff. So
no, thank you for that. Any other questions? Talisha, do we have anything in the Facebook group?
No, ma'am, not at this time.
All right. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead and put them in the Q&A. I want to talk about, I just want to talk about the minimum a little bit, right? Because it is a little higher than typically we see on here in this session that we do on Tuesday evening.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to talk about it just to put it in perspective. I love that, Amina, you and Norlin partnered, right, with others to make this happen.
Yeah.
And so, and I believe in group economics. You got to meet the investment club I'm a part of yesterday. And in this group, even, we have had some group economic opportunities that we've taken advantage of. And so I really want to say to the community, this is one of those opportunities for many, right? Some of us may not be able to get in right now at 15,000, but maybe you have 5. Maybe you've got 2 friends that have 5, right? And then you can get in that way. And so I don't want people to be discouraged by the minimum. I want you to take advantage of it. And this is when you go to the family, you go to your close friend circle, and you say, listen, guys, this may be what we've been looking for, right? This may be the opportunity we've been looking for. And so, don't shy away from those conversations. It takes no time to create an LLC. For those of you that are paid members of 10K Project in the Knowledge Center, we've got a whole section on how to create an investment club, right? So that if you're already a member, that resource is free to you. And so it walks you through all of the things you need to do. It even walks you through the conversation to have with your family members to talk to them about this concept. And so now is the time to dust that off and log into the Knowledge Center, dust that off and utilize it if you're interested in this, but your barrier to entry is the cost, right? And so I just wanted to kind of have a transparent conversation about that because I didn't want you guys to think, what the heck, Tawana, think we rich, right? We are a community of both accredited, non-accredited investors. We're a community of people who already have built some wealth. We're a community of people who are just starting out, right? We're all ends of the spectrum. And so when this opportunity was presented, I thought it was an amazing opportunity for us to expand the deal flow that we bring, right? Every campaign won't be $100 minimum. And that is really out of respect for the fact that we are all at different phases of our wealth building journey, right? And so for those of you who may not yet be there, your time will come. We're teaching wealth building strategies, every day we're teaching you something. This is another asset class that we just learned about. I mean, just even in Amina's presentation, I walked away with knowledge that I did not have before, terminology that we just learned, understanding some of the rationale around what you focus on, right? What these numbers mean. We just learned something about an asset class that now we can delve a little deeper into, and maybe one day some of you will be buying your own hotel, right? And so all of this is part of that wealth building journey from an education standpoint, from an investing standpoint, from a get your hands dirty standpoint. It all counts, right? It all goes towards the cause. So I just wanted to say that.
And if I could add to that.
Absolutely.
Because obviously we also believe in group economics and we also believe in being creative. So don't think you have to have the money in the bank to invest in this hotel. We have several investors, not only for this deal, but for our Memphis deal, that have used self-directed IRAs by rolling over their 401k. They've used cash value life insurance. There's so many different ways. So if you're wondering about how to do any of those things, I'm sure Tawana is a great resource to help you with that. And also we can help you figure out how to do that as well.
Very good. I'm so glad you made that point. The thing I do want to, and I don't think I said this when I looked at the campaign page, I didn't give you guys the deadline. I always give you the deadline. So the thing with this campaign is you don't have a whole lot of time. I believe there are 10 days left. The campaign closes on the 15th.
March 15th. Yeah.
So 10 days left. That's 10 good days to get some stuff done, right?
Look, we can have you in within 5 days if we are motivated. So yeah, 10 days is plenty of time.
Yeah, plenty of time for you to get that LLC, to call the cousins when we get off here tonight, right? Get them together, say, listen,
your auntie, your uncle.
Right, your auntie, your uncle, your sister, all your siblings.
We're laughing, but that's so true. I mean, in our Memphis deal, my dad invested and Norland's parents invested. They were our first two investors and they're in their 70s. And they were just like, well,
do it.
We're not going to support you. Who will? So yeah, don't sleep on your older relatives. They want to be down. They want to be a part.
That is so true. And the other thing is those tax refunds are coming, right? For some of you, right? I don't get one, but some of y'all get one. And so now is the perfect time to think about, how do I utilize that, right? For something that can return on that investment versus just going out and buying a new couch or a new mattress, or right, or something, some of those things that typically people use tax refunds for. So think about that as well. So just wanted to say that. I don't want to belabor it, but I want you guys to stay optimistic and be motivated that Definitely. This is doable, and it may only take a few phone calls for you to get there, right? Sometimes we think our family members and friends are not ready. They're just waiting for somebody to call with the right thing for them to be ready for. Yeah. So you could be the catalyst for change in your family. Lisa said, have you worked with Tracy Prigmore as she has a deal?
Yeah, so I haven't worked with her on any deals, but I actually did pitch in the She Has a Deal program in April of 2022. And the hotel that I pitched is the hotel that we brought in December 2022, so later on that year. So I didn't win the pitch, but I won in life because I'm the first ever SHAD participant to close on a hotel deal, to purchase a hotel.
Yes, very, very nice. Lisa's asking me, can 10K form a group to invest? Well, Lisa, let me say this. your girl got 10 million irons in the fire. But if you form a group, I will invest with your group. But but I can't run one more thing. Okay. But I would love to be passive in a whole lot of things. So that is my honest
I
answer.
don't blame you.
But I can't own, manage nothing, not nothing else.
I understand. Definitely going on. I think we're all going to Belize after this.
Oh, nice.
Oh, we need a little vacation after this deal is closed.
Very nice. Any other questions? All right, so this is where I give my closing statements, and then Amina, I'll let you bring us all the way home. Okay. Being able, first of all, to have an opportunity like this is wonderful. A lot of deals like this don't make it to investment crowdfunding Reg CF, right? And so thank you guys, all of your partners, for bringing it to a platform that the everyday investor could benefit from. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of this journey with you, because it really means a lot. And that, that 2X on an investment could be somebody's down payment for the house they've been waiting for, right? And they've been trying to work on getting their credit right. And they're going to spend the next 3-4 years working on that credit and saving more money. And that could be the catalyst to them now having an asset that could hold wealth for their family. So thank you so very much. Because again, you typically don't see these returns on average crowdfunding opportunities. Community members, you guys are here at the 10K Project because you want amazing deal flow and the ability to build wealth. I can't tell you what to invest in. I can't tell you what your risk profile is, right? What I can tell you is I believe I have brought you good deal flow this evening. And so now you are responsible for doing your due diligence, because I'm never going to tell you not to do that. Do your due diligence. Ask questions if you have any additional questions. There is a place on the portal where you can ask questions, right? Because I tell you guys, that's a regulatory requirement. Mm-hmm. So all portals have that place where you can ask and answer questions. So if you think of anything you didn't think of this evening, if you think of it later, go on there and ask them. I'm sure Amina and her team are
questions.
So you're answering good. Very good.
You're getting me directly.
Very, very good. So she'll and as we see, she knows this, right? This is definitely this is your lane. And you light up when you talk about it too.
I love it.
That's wonderful.
I love it.
Yeah, that's wonderful to see. It's nothing like having a founder working hard on something you can tell there's a passion for, right? Those are the kind of founders I love to invest in. And so you definitely, seeing you light up when you talk about this now, 2 nights in a row, I got to see it, right? So I know it's not an app. I got to see her laughing and lighting up all through sniffling last night because she's not feeling well. And she showed up and showed out both nights. And so that is a true testament of someone I would invest in. And so, to the community, what's up next, right? You know what we need to do. We need to assemble. We need to act. Get on the phone and call your friends. Share the heck out of this campaign link, because that's the other responsibility, right? Is investing is one thing, but it doesn't cost you a dime to share this link, to post it on your social profiles, right? To tell your friends about it. We've put it in the chat. We'll have it in the Facebook Live. You'll have it in the newsletter we send you. You'll have it in the replay you're going to get in a few hours when the recording renders. So there is no excuse not to share it, right? So if you don't do anything else, please share the heck out of this link so that this project can meet its financial goal. They're almost there. You saw the numbers. They're almost there. So they can meet the financial projections, get this project off and running and in order, so they can get on to the next one to come bring us. Amina, what do you want to tell us to close us out, dear?
Well, it's been an honor and a blessing to come here tonight. Thank you, Tawana, for having us. I always say us because I represent, 4 other people. We'd love to have each and every one of you on board. I do get excited about this. I'm not someone who came from a background in hospitality, but once I found hotels, it was just like a new newfound love. So, I love talking about this stuff. Even if you don't invest with us and you have questions about how to get started, I'm on social media, I'm on LinkedIn. Just hit me up and I'd be happy to chat with you after we close this deal because I'm a little tied up right now. So if you have questions about this deal, contact me. Now, later, contact me if you have questions about hotels in general. But yeah, it's been a pleasure hanging with you all tonight. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, my dear. We appreciate you. We are rooting for you. And I'm so excited about the success you already have. And so peace and blessings to you. This is beautiful. It's beautiful to see us in our excellent selves just excelling. And so you are an inspiration to all of us trying to build well. So well done.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.